State signs bill to cap price of insulin in Oklahoma. Under the
And
bill, a 30-day supply of insulin is capped at $30 and $90 for a 90-day supply for each covered prescription. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
and that is, I guess, fam. Like, I guess, like, I appreciate. Okay, I'm gonna say this probably once a year. I appreciate what Kevin Stitt did here. Okay, I did it. I said it. I'm gonna take a shot after this. You can mark it, okay? But insulin prices are a huge issue for diabetics. I like my mom's a diabetic, and I know the struggles that people have covering the price of insulin. And Oklahoma has higher rates of diabetes than the national average. So it's important that we're ensuring people and high poverty rate among seniors. So it's important that we ensure people have access to these life-saving drugs. Ideally, we have a national healthcare service that provides prescriptions at low or to no cost, as well as other medical services that people may need. So STIT can go to more important things like making sure you can brandish your AR at Chili's. So like,
Yeah.
but shout out to him because that is a huge issue. I do wonder, like the constitutionality of it. And I say that unhappily, and I say that as a U of C alum who was forced to think like a horrible lawyer, and who has some of my closest friends like work for these large, soulless, insanely expensive big pharma repping law firms, and I'm assuming that big pharma they're not too happy about that. So I'm wondering, and when they not too happy, we talk about like when the ACLU and that sort of thing. When big pharma ain't happy, oh, you better believe there's some lawsuits coming. So I hope that what Stitt signed is upheld. And by the way, man, listen, Stitt, like we have limited resources in the AG's office. Fuck the blatantly unconstitutional suppressing of freedom of speech, blatantly unconstitutional anti-abortion laws. Put your resources into this. Like we need put all of the AG's resources into defending any lawsuits that come from big pharma on the basis of citing this. And oh, by the way, I'm not sure how this works out in other states, but if Oklahoma is able to pass this and fend off a lawsuit from big pharma, that's some shit I'd be very proud of as an Oklahoman. That's some shit that other states would be, other citizens would be encouraging their states to pick up on, because skyrocketing insulin prices is one of the major issues and the horror that is American healthcare.
Yeah. Yeah, and my there was another law which I couldn't find it before we went live that failed that addressed insulin prices. I'm not sure what other aspect of it, but a lot of these laws, because of how legislation gets written in Oklahoma and how many special interests are at the table and that sort of stuff, I'm not positive how much some of this stuff really does, like how much effect they can actually have on the market versus other solutions. That's my only kind of
You're much more familiar with the goings on of the state capitol. Where was Big Pharma? That's a group that rarely falls asleep at the table. Again, I'm happy if even it makes a marginal impact. I hope it makes it much greater than that. But even if it makes a marginal impact in some people's lives and accessing a life-saving drug, like, I'm happy. Obviously, I want the broadest solution possible or something like that. But like, was Big Pharma? Did you hear anything about that? Like, because that you always talk about lobbies, but Big Pharma. I mean, Don in the Second Amendment nut jobs, they got a little sway, but Big Pharma and those dudes, it's like, yo, fam, you want this 100,000 in donations or not? Like, so I'm wondering, and look how broken of a soul I am. I'm sitting here like, you sure this gonna work? Like, look how defeated of a person I have become. But yeah, I wonder about that. But like, I can say with certainty, if there is a lawsuit to be passed. I'm sorry, not be passed, but a lawsuit to be filed by Big Pharma is coming. and it's going to come from some of the largest and most well-resourced law firms in the world. I
Yeah.
mean, you guys know the power that we're up against, even in trying, how influential they were in the Affordable Care Act, right? The biggest health legislation passed in decades. So, like, they got the resources because they're, you know, jacking up insulin prices. Fuck. Like,
Right. I mean, I haven't seen like recent polling on it, but like, I mean, this is where, to me, this whole argument or this whole bill and fights around it come down to like political economy. You know, like where is the political will to do X, Y, or Z? And while Big Pharma has lots of lobbyists and they have a ton of money, I mean, the polling I have seen says that the public, I mean, would basically be for nationalizing Big Pharma, right? I mean, like the political will that you would have on the side of the public. I mean, if you ran a bill tomorrow that said we're going to take over every drug company, reduce the prices to just cost, and just pass it on to consumers and basically reduce all of our drug spending by, 80% or whatever. I mean, I think that would be a winning issue in the United States of America because of how out of control the problem is. So, I mean, for some like super modest compromise that like just caps copays, it's still a fairly high amount. I mean, $30 a month, $90 for a 3-month supply. I mean, I just think that these companies know they're on borrowed time, like there is no constituency outside of lobbying and money, which is a big constituency, clearly. But like, I mean, the horror story, I mean, things have just gotten so bad that there is no constituency to like make it worse.